The blue glow of Neptune filled the view screen of James Reed's patrol ship. He rubbed his tired eyes and checked the time. 3 more hours until his shift ended. As captain of the Earth Defense Force's Outer Patrol, he had seen this view hundreds of times. The giant ice planet hung silently in space, same as always. But today was different. Today, something changed. "Captain," called out Tom from the radar station, his voice shaking slightly. "You need to see this." James walked over to Tom's screen. A large object was approaching from the dark side of Neptune. It wasn't like anything in their database. The object sparkled on their sensors, sending back readings that made no sense. "Get me a visual," James ordered, returning to his captain's chair. The main screen flickered, and there it was, a ship unlike anything human eyes had seen before. It looked like it was made of pure crystal, catching and throwing back the distant sunlight in rainbow patterns. The ship was beautiful, but James felt his hand tighten on his chair's armrest. "Sir, they're sending us a signal," said Mary from communications. "Should I put it through?" James nodded, straightening his uniform. First contact protocols ran through his head. Stay calm. Be diplomatic. Show strength without aggression. The screen changed, and James found himself looking at one of the most striking beings he had ever seen. She looked almost human, but her skin had a slight shimmer to it, like moonlight on water. Her hair seemed to contain tiny points of light, like a field of stars. But it was her eyes that caught his attention. They were pure silver, with no pupils, yet somehow full of warmth. And they were staring at him with complete recognition. "James Reed," the alien woman said, her voice musical and clear. "After all these years, you look exactly the same." James felt his mouth go dry. "I'm sorry, but I don't." "You don't remember me," she finished, a sad smile crossing her face. "I am Luna of the Starborn. We've met before, though your memory of our meeting was taken from you." The bridge crew turned to look at their captain. James felt a headache building behind his eyes, along with a strange sense of familiarity he couldn't explain. "That's impossible," he said. "This is humanity's first contact with an alien species." Luna shook her head. "No, James. This is humanity's first official contact. But you and I—" She paused, her silver eyes seeming to look right through him. "We have a history." Before James could respond, his head exploded with pain. A flash of memory. Crystal corridors, running, alarms blaring, a warm hand in his, silver eyes filled with fear, and then nothing. "Captain," Tom called out as James stumbled. "I'm fine," James said, straightening up. But he wasn't fine. That memory, it had felt real. Too real. "Your people did this to you," Luna said softly. "They took those memories, thinking it was for the best. But now we've returned, James, because you and the others are in danger. The process they used, it's killing you." "I don't understand," James said, but deep down, something in him recognized the truth in her words. "Let us dock with your ship," Luna requested. "There is much to explain and little time to waste." James looked around at his crew. Protocol said to wait for orders from Earth Command. Protocol said to maintain distance until proper first contact procedures could be established. Protocol said a lot of things. But those silver eyes, they held truth and secrets, and somehow he knew they held part of his own story. "Permission granted," he said, ignoring the gasps from his crew. "Send them docking coordinates." As Luna's image smiled and faded from the screen, James touched his temple where the headache lingered. He had a feeling his life was about to change forever. Again. That night, James couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, strange images flashed through his mind. A crystal city floating in space, a garden where plants glowed with their own light, silver eyes filled with tears. He sat up in his quarters aboard the patrol ship, his head pounding. The starborn vessel had docked 6 hours ago, but Earth Command was still arguing about what to do. Luna and her crew waited patiently in their ship, while politicians on Earth shouted at each other through video calls. "Captain," his computer terminal buzzed. "Commander Wells requests your presence in the secure briefing room." James pulled on his uniform and walked through the quiet corridors. The night shift crew nodded to him nervously. Everyone felt the tension in the air. Humanity's first official alien contact, and it happened on their small patrol ship. Commander Wells was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She stood at the window, watching the crystal ship glow softly against the darkness of space. "Sir," James saluted. "Sit down, James," she said, not turning around. "What I'm about to tell you breaks about 15 regulations, but that alien woman is right. You deserve to know the truth." She placed an old data chip on the table between them. 15 years ago, we weren't alone out here. We had already met them, the Starborn. It was kept secret. A small team of our best officers made contact near this very spot. James felt his headache getting worse. "I was on that team. You were young then, just a lieutenant. The meeting went well at first. Cultural exchange, scientific cooperation, everything we hoped first contact would be." Wells finally turned to face him. Then something went wrong. There was an accident on their ship, a reactor malfunction. More flashes hit James, running through crystal corridors, alarms blaring, the sound of breaking glass. "I was there," he whispered. "You saved several lives that day, both human and Starborn, including that woman, Luna. But the politicians," Wells shook her head in disgust. "They were afraid that if the public found out we'd met aliens and there had been an accident, there would be panic, fear, maybe even calls for war." She picked up the data chip. "So they used this new technology, supposedly safe. It could target specific memories and just erase them. Clean and simple. The perfect cover-up." James felt sick. "They erased our memories, without asking. Everyone involved. Both teams. They thought it was the end of it." Wells laughed bitterly. "Guess they were wrong." James stood up and walked to the window. The Starborn ship pulsed with soft light, like a heart beating in the darkness. "Luna said the process is killing us. The memory wipe. Based on these readings she sent us, she's right." Wells tossed him a tablet. "The human brain isn't meant to have holes in it, James. The gaps are growing, like cracks in a foundation. In about a year, they'll reach critical parts of your brain." "How many?" James asked quietly. 23 humans were on that mission. We've lost track of some. Others," she paused. 2 died last month. Strange brain conditions that puzzled their doctors. Now we know why." James touched the cold glass of the window. Another memory flashed. Standing just like this on the Starborn ship, watching Earth spin below, a warm hand touching his shoulder. "What do we do?" he asked. "That's the hard part." Wells stepped next to him. "The government wants to deny everything. Keep it quiet. Let you all die slowly rather than admit what they did. And Luna, the Starborn. They say they can help. They've developed a way to restore the memories, heal the damage. But it's risky." The inside of the Starborn ship took James's breath away. The corridors were made of the same crystal-like material as the hull, but here it was warm to the touch. Soft lights pulsed through the walls like gentle heartbeats, and the air smelled like spring flowers. "This way," Luna said, leading him through passages that felt strangely familiar. "The medical bay is ready." James followed her, noticing how her hair caught the light, creating tiny constellations with each step. Other Starborn crew members nodded to them as they passed. They all had the same shimmering skin and silver eyes, but none of them made his head hurt with half-remembered memories like Luna did. The medical bay was a round room with a bed that seemed to float in the air. Strange instruments hung from the ceiling, glowing with soft blue light. "Lie down," Luna said gently. "This won't hurt, but it might feel strange." James lay on the floating bed, which felt firm despite looking like mist. Before we start, I need to know what really happened 15 years ago. Luna touched a crystal panel, and a hologram appeared above them. It showed a younger James in an old-style Earth uniform, standing in this very ship. "You were part of the first contact team," she said. "Our peoples were going to announce our meeting to Earth slowly, carefully. But then our quantum core developed a crack. The hologram changed, showing alarms, panic, crews running. The core was going to break. If it had, the explosion would have destroyed both ships. Most of the crew evacuated, but I stayed behind to try and fix it. I was our best engineer." James watched as his younger self ran through the crystal corridors. "I came back for you." Luna nodded, her eyes soft. "Everyone told you to leave, but you said no one gets left behind. You helped me reach the manual override. Together, we'd managed to shut down the core just in time." Another memory hit James, the feeling of intense heat, crystal walls cracking around them, Luna's hand gripping his as they pulled the emergency lever together. "We spent 3 days on this ship afterward, waiting for rescue," Luna continued. "We talked about everything. Our peoples, our hopes, our dreams. She paused, touching her hair nervously. "We grew close." The hologram showed them standing together by a window, watching Earth spin below. Young James was teaching Luna to play cards. Luna was showing James how to make the crystal walls sing with touch. Then Earth Command gave their orders. Luna's voice turned sad. "They said the accident proved it was too risky to reveal our existence. They took you all away, used their memory device. We were ordered never to return." "But you did," James said. "Why now?" Luna waved her hand, and new images appeared. Brain scans, medical data. 2 months ago, one of our research ships found a human ship drifting in space. The crew was dead. When we studied them, we found their brains had been damaged. The same pattern we'd seen in the scans we took of your team before you left. She touched his hand, and James felt a tingle run through him. The memory wipe technology Earth used. It creates tiny tears in human neural pathways. Over time, these tears grow, like cracks in ice. "How long?" James asked quietly. "Without treatment, 8 months before the damage reaches critical areas. Maybe less." Luna squeezed his hand. "But we've developed a treatment, using our biotechnology, and what we learned about human minds 15 years ago. We can restore the memories and heal the damage." James sat up on the floating bed. "What's the catch?" "It's never been tried on humans. It might not work." And Luna looked away. "Earth Command has ordered us to leave. If we help you, it will cause a diplomatic crisis. My people might be banned from Earth space forever." James reached out and turned her face back to his. Her silver eyes met his, and for a moment, he felt the echo of what they once shared. "Why risk so much for us?" he asked. Luna smiled, and this time there were definitely tears in her silver eyes. "Because some bonds are worth any price, James, even if only one of us remembers them." James stood in Commander Wells' office, watching Earth Command's final message play on the screen. Their orders were clear. The starborn ship must leave Earth space immediately. No exceptions. They're choosing politics over people's lives, Wells said, turning off the screen in disgust. She looked tired. "I found 12 of the original 23 crew members. 3 are already dead. The others are showing symptoms." "Headaches?" James asked, rubbing his own temple. "And worse, memory loss. Confusion. One of them forgot how to read last week." Wells pulled up a map on her tablet. "The others are being brought to these coordinates, a small research station on Mars. If we're going to save them, that's where we need to go." Luna stepped forward from the shadows where she had been waiting quietly. In the Earth normal lighting, her skin glowed like moonlight on water. "The treatment requires 2 things," she said. "Our bioregeneration technology, which we have, and the original memory removal device, which we don't." "Why do we need the thing that hurt us in the first place?" James asked. To understand how to reverse it, Luna explained, like needing to know what poison was used to create the right antidote. Wells pulled up another file. The device is stored here. Advanced Research Facility 7, under the Pacific Ocean. Highest security Earth has. Getting in won't be easy. Getting in will be impossible, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Tom, James's radar operator, standing in the doorway. Unless you have someone who knows the security systems. Tom, James started, but Wells cut him off. He was there too, James. He was our tech expert on the first mission. The headaches started for him last month. Tom nodded grimly. Been having dreams about crystal ships and silver-eyed people. Thought I was going crazy until today. He looked at Luna. You can really fix this. Yes, Luna said simply. But we need that device. Then let me help. Tom moved to the computer and his fingers flew over the keys. The facility's security runs on a rotating code system. But there's a flaw. A backdoor I built in 15 years ago before they took our memories. Deep down, some part of me remembered it. Been having dreams about code sequences for weeks. James watched as schematics appeared on the screen. How long do we have? The facility changes security codes every 72 hours, Tom said. Next change is in 38 hours. We go then, or we wait 3 more days. We don't have 3 days, Wells said. Earth Command is sending ships to escort the Starborn out of our system. They arrive in 2 days. Luna touched the screen, her silver eyes reflecting the facility plans. I can help with the entrance. My people can bend light, create illusions, but once inside, she looked at James. The facility's sensors will detect any non-human life forms. You'll have to get to the device yourself. James looked around the room. At Tom's determined face, at Wells' concerned frown, at Luna's hopeful eyes. In his head, another memory surfaced. Luna teaching him about Starborn technology, laughing as he struggled to pronounce the scientific terms. How many people are at the facility? He asked. Skeleton crew at night. 20 guards, 10 scientists, Tom replied. And if we're caught? Best case, prison, Wells said. Worst case, they use that device on us again. Take more memories. James straightened his uniform. The headache was getting worse, but his mind was clear. When do we start? I'll need 4 hours to prep the equipment, Tom said. I need 2 hours to get my ship ready, Luna added. We'll have to move fast once we have the device. Then we have our timeline. James looked at each of them. In 38 hours, we either save everyone, or we lose everything. Let's make it count. The ocean was black above Advanced Research Facility 7. James checked his diving gear one last time, as Luna's ship hovered silently over the waves, hidden by her light-bending technology. Communications check. Tom's voice came through his earpiece. Everyone copy. Copy, James whispered. He looked at the other 2 divers beside him, Wells and Mary from his communications team. Like Tom, Mary had been part of the original mission. Her headaches had started last week. Remember, Luna's voice came through clearly. The light cloak will hide you until you reach the entrance. After that, you have 18 minutes before the security system resets. James touched the small crystal hanging around his neck. Luna had given it to him before the mission. It will help you find your way back, she had said. Now it glowed softly, providing a strange comfort in the darkness. Dropping in 3, 2, 1. The team slipped into the cold water. Above them, Luna's ship vanished completely, becoming one with the night sky. The descent to the facility was quick. Tom's codes worked perfectly on the outer door, just as he had promised. We're in, James reported as they entered the airlock. Phase 1 complete. Inside, the facility was eerily quiet. Their footsteps echoed on metal floors as they moved through dimly lit corridors. Tom guided them through their earpieces, watching their progress through the security cameras he had hacked. Guard patrol coming up on your left, he warned. 3 men. Mary, take point, James ordered. Mary stepped forward, pulling out a device Luna had given them. It created a small bubble of bent light, making them nearly invisible. The guards walked past, their flashlight beams passing through the team as if they weren't there. 6 minutes until security reset, Tom reminded them. The device is 2 levels down. They found the stairs and moved quickly. Everything was going according to plan. Too well, James thought. His years of experience told him that meant trouble was coming. He was right. Stop. Tom's voice suddenly crackled with urgency. New heat signatures in the device room. 4 people. They're not supposed to be there. James peered through the reinforced glass window of the lab. Inside, he saw scientists working late, clustered around the memory removal device. It sat on a table in the center of the room, looking deceptively simple, just a silver helmet with wires. 3 minutes, Tom warned. We don't have time to wait them out, Wells said. James made a quick decision. New plan. Mary, create a diversion in the east corridor. Wells, get ready to grab the device. I'll handle the scientists. He walked into the lab, hands raised. The scientists looked up in surprise. Evening, James said calmly. Sorry about this. Before they could react, he pulled out Luna's light device. The room seemed to fill with dazzling starlight, temporarily blinding everyone. Wells moved fast, grabbing the device while the scientists stumbled around in confusion. Intruder alert, a voice blared through the facility speakers. Security breach on level 2. Time to go, James shouted. They ran, alarms blaring around them. Guards appeared at both ends of the corridor. The crystal around James's neck suddenly pulsed brightly. Luna, now, he yelled into his communicator. The ceiling above them crackled and dissolved. Luna's ship had burned through the facility's outer layer, creating an escape route. Water began pouring in. Masks on, Wells ordered, securing the device in a waterproof bag. They swam up through the hole as the facility began emergency protocols. Bullets zipped past them in the water, leaving trails of bubbles. James felt a sharp pain in his shoulder, a grazing hit. Luna's ship appeared above them, a crystal heaven in the dark water. Its hull opened like flower petals, drawing them up into safety. Got it, James gasped as they collapsed on the ship's floor. He looked at the device, then at his injured shoulder. Guess we're all criminals now. No, Luna said, helping him up. Now we're heroes, even if Earth doesn't know it yet. The crystal ship vanished into the night sky, leaving behind a facility in chaos and a team of very confused scientists trying to explain how their secret device had disappeared in a flash of starlight. The secret starborn medical facility floated quietly in the Kuiper Belt, far from Earth's watching eyes. James lay on the floating crystal bed again. But this time both the memory removal device and Luna's bioregeneration equipment surrounded him. Are you sure about this? Luna asked, adjusting the silver helmet. You'll be the first. We don't know exactly what will happen. James looked around the room. Tom and Mary waited nearby, their faces showing both hope and fear. Wells stood by the door, keeping watch. His shoulder still hurt from the bullet graze, but that pain was nothing compared to the headaches now. I'm sure, he said. Someone has to go first. Might as well be me. Luna nodded and placed her hands on the crystal controls. The helmet hummed to life, and James felt a strange tingling in his head. The bioregeneration field activated, filling the room with soft blue light. Remember, Luna said softly, don't fight the memories. Let them come. James closed his eyes as the process began. At first, there was nothing but darkness. Then, */*. He was younger, standing on the bridge of his first ship. The starborn vessel appeared out of nowhere, beautiful and terrifying. First contact. Real first contact. */*. Luna showing him their engine room, explaining how they harvested energy from starlight itself. He was fascinated by everything. the technology, the culture, and especially their young engineer with silver eyes. */*. Playing Earth card games in the recreation room. Luna winning every hand because she could see the cards reflect in his eyes, both of them laughing. */*. The accident. Alarms blaring, running through crystal corridors as they cracked and shattered. Finding Luna trapped in the engine room. The heat was unbearable. "I won't leave you," he heard his younger self shout. Together, they reached the override. Luna's hands were burned, but she didn't let go. Neither did he. */*. 3 days waiting for rescue. Talking about everything and nothing. Luna teaching him starborn songs, the way her eyes lit up when she laughed. A first kiss, gentle and uncertain, tasting like starlight. */*. The order to report back. Earth Command's decision. The memory removal device being prepared. Luna's tears. "I'll find you again," she had promised, no matter how long it takes. In the present, James gasped as the memories flooded back. Each one slid into place like puzzle pieces returning home. The pain in his head grew intense, then suddenly vanished completely. "James." Luna's worried voice seemed far away. "James, can you hear me?" He opened his eyes. The room spun for a moment, then settled. Everything was clearer now, not just his memories, but his thoughts too. The constant fog he hadn't even noticed was gone. "The song," he said, his voice rough. "The one you taught me. It went like this." He hummed a few notes of a melody he hadn't known he knew 5 minutes ago. Luna's eyes filled with tears. "You remember everything." James sat up slowly. The cards games, the accident, the promise. He looked at her with new eyes. Eyes that finally recognized her completely. "You kept it. You found me. Did it work?" Tom asked anxiously. "Is your head better?" James nodded. "The headache's gone. And the memories. They're not just pictures. I can feel them. They're real. The neural regeneration is complete," Luna confirmed, checking the readings. "The damage is healed." She smiled. "You're going to be okay." "How long until we can do the others?" Wells asked. Luna's face grew serious. "The equipment needs 6 hours to recharge. After that, we can treat one person every 4 hours." "But there are 18 people left to treat," Mary said. "That's at least 3 days. And Earth ships are still searching for us," Tom added. James stood up, feeling stronger than he had in weeks. "Then we better get started. We got a lot of memories to restore and not much time to do it." He took Luna's hand, remembering now how perfectly it fit in his. "But this time, we do it together. No more forgetting." James stood at the communications console of Luna's ship, watching the Earth fleet approach on the scanners. They had managed to treat 14 of the 18 remaining patients, but Earth Command had found them faster than expected. 4 ships coming in from the Mars sector, Tom reported from his station. "They'll be here in 20 minutes. Status on the last patients?" James asked. "Mary's just finishing her treatment now," Wells said. "That leaves 3 more." Luna touched James's shoulder. In the 2 days since his memories returned, they had fallen into their old comfort with each other, as if the 15 years apart had never happened. "We can't run again. The equipment is too delicate to move while it's operating." James nodded. The choice was clear: surrender and let their people die, or make a stand and hope they could buy enough time. "Open a channel to Earth Command," he ordered, "and get me the video files from all our treatments." The main screen lit up with the stern face of Admiral Porter. "Captain Reed, you're ordered to surrender the starboard vessel and all stolen equipment immediately." "Actually, sir," James said calmly, "I have a counteroffer." He nodded to Luna, who began transmitting the files. "You're receiving video evidence of what your memory wipe technology did to us, and proof that we can fix it." The Admiral's face darkened as he watched. Images of the treatment process, brain scans showing the damage, video testimonies from the recovered crew members. "This is classified material," Porter growled. "You're committing treason." "No," James cut him off. "The treason was using that device on loyal officers. The treason was leaving us to die from brain damage. The treason was denying us the right to remember our own lives." Luna stepped forward, her silver eyes flashing. "Your ships are 8 minutes away, Admiral. In that time, I'm broadcasting this evidence to every major news outlet on Earth. The truth about First Contact. The cover-up. All of it. You wouldn't dare. Watch me." Luna's fingers danced over the crystal controls. "Transmission beginning now." The next few minutes were tense. James watched the Earth ships approach, wondering if they would fire. Behind him, the medical bay hummed as the last 3 patients underwent their treatment. Then new signals began appearing on the screens: civilian broadcasts, news reports, social media explosions. The story was spreading faster than Earth Command could contain it. "Admiral," James said quietly, "you can't hide this anymore. But you can help make it right. Your choice." For a long moment, Porter was silent. The Earth ships were now visible through the windows, weapons ready. Finally, the Admiral sighed. "All ships, stand down." He looked at James with a mix of anger and respect. "You've forced our hand, Captain. I hope you know what you're doing." "I do, sir," James smiled. "I remember everything now." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Earth Command negotiators arrived. Luna presented the Starborn's official proposal for open diplomatic relations. The last patients completed their treatments successfully. As the talks continued in the main conference room, James found Luna standing by their favorite window, watching Earth spin below. "Just like old times," he said softly. Luna turned to him, starlight dancing in her hair. "Better than old times. Now we don't have to hide." She hugged him then, pressing close. James breathed in her familiar scent of crystal flowers and distant stars. "Fate brought us together again," Luna whispered against his chest. James smiled, holding her tight. "No," he said. "Not fate. You did. You kept your promise. You found me." Below them, Earth continued its slow spin. But now it spun in a changed universe, one where humans and Starborn would face the future together, with no more secrets, no more forgotten memories, and no more fear of what they could accomplish together. "What happens now?" Luna asked. James looked down at her silver eyes, remembering both their past and their present. "Now," he said, "we make new memories. Together."